Hi, this is Mr. Ng. The quiz was out of 99 points, but I made 2 questions extra credit, so it's out of 91. This is for January 30th, 2015. Which graph represents the equation x equals -2? So if you make all your x values -2 and graph order pairs, then your graph would be C. Number 2, the correct answer would be C. Which statement is true about the relation shown on the graph below? So you notice I just made up 2 order pairs, 2, 2, 2, -2. Notice how my x values are the same, but my y values are different. It is not a function because there are multiple y values, that's 2 and -2, for a given value of x. Also, you'll notice that it is not a function because it fails the vertical line test. It goes through more than one point. Question number 3. If a line is horizontal, then its slope is 0. You can just make a quick graph. If you just make 2 order pairs there, you can do equation for slope and you'll find it to be 0. Question number 4, which equation represents a line that is parallel to the line whose equation is 2x plus 3y equals 12? So essentially, this is my equation. It's easy if you just put it in slope-intercept form. You'll notice that your slope is -2/3. Then I'm going to take all of these and transform them all into slope-intercept form and look at the one that has the slope that's the same. That's what it means to be parallel, so -2/3 and -2/3, that would be choice B. Question number 5. What is an equation of a line that passes through the point 3, -1 and has a slope of 2? So I put this into point slope because they give me a point and they give me a slope, but I don't have the y-intercept. Slope is 2. My y-coordinate is a -1, so that turns into a plus. Same thing, this is 3. I'm going to have to distribute. That's 2x minus 6. Subtract 1 from both sides, and I'll get D as my answer. Which equation represents a line parallel to the y-axis? So here's my y, there's my x-axis, and let's just say you want something that looks like this. Right, that's parallel. They're not intersecting, the red and the y-axis there. If you notice that y equals 10, that'll be a horizontal line. So that'll be perpendicular. Here, if you multiply both sides by 3, you get 3x. That'll be something that goes through the origin like that. 5x plus 17 also has a positive slope, something like that. So the correct answer is A. Number 7, find the slope of the line described by x minus 3y equals -6. This is in standard form. I just transform it into slope-intercept form, subtract x. Divide both terms by -3. This will become positive, and my slope is 1/3. Question number 8. Student finds that the slope between 14.1 and 18.7 is this. What mistake did they find? So notice that you can number your order pairs, and then just label that. Notice how they switch. They don't have it consistently 2s and then the 1s. So the better choice would be D. Question number 9. The graph of which linear function passes through the origin? Well, in slope-intercept form, that b value is the y-intercept. So if I want to go through the origin, that would have to have a slope-intercept of 0. That would be y equals 3x. Number 10, which graph represents the solution to 2x minus 4 less than or equal to 8 and 5x plus 7? I'm just going to solve there. Remember, you can combine these inequalities from the word and. You know it's going to go inwards, and your x is in the middle, and that would be their choice B. Number 11. I'm just going to distribute here, 6b plus 8. Now if I subtract 6b from both sides, they will cancel, right? 6b, that cancels, minus 6b cancels, you're left with 26 is greater than or equal to 8. That's never true, the answer is no solutions. Question number 12, if the order pair 5, 9 belongs to the function g, then g of blank equals blank. Well, if I substitute in 5, g of 5 equals 9. That's the order pair 5, 9. Oh, skip question 13. Notice how my absolute value signs here are isolated. Because they're isolated, there's nothing in front, there's nothing behind it. Now I can take the argument 2x plus 10, make one positive, make one negative. Here I can drop my parentheses, subtract 10, divide by 2. This one I'm going to divide by -1. Don't forget to flip the inequality sign. Subtract 10, divide by 2. I get my two answers here. Remember, because I have less than, that essentially means that my interest in someone else is small, so you're going to stay together. That's and. -18 less than x less than 8. Number 14, which is not a solution of the compound inequality. So go ahead and substitute in your numbers. When you solve for this, you'll get x is less than or equal to -9, or the key word is or, so it only has to meet one of these conditions. Subtract 8 and divide by 3, you get x is greater than 6. So I'm looking for the word not. All of these would work with my x's. The x of the 6 here is not smaller than negative or equal to -9, and 6 is not bigger than 6, so the one that's not a solution is h. Question number 15, domain and range. Remember, as you go from left to right for the domain, I start here at -6. Don't get distracted by the order pair there. It's a closed circle, which means it's equals to, and the numbers as I go across, the numbers on the x-axis get bigger, so x is greater than or equal to -6. Interval notation is essentially the same. I start at -6. It's a closed circle where it's equals to, therefore you're going to have the brackets, and I go towards infinity. The range is going from bottom to top, so as I move up here, range is the y-axis, so I have the y variable there. First thing I touch is the 1 here, closed circle. As I go up, the y values are increasing, therefore its y is greater than or equal to 1. Interval notation, I start at 1, and last thing I touch is the arrow there, that'll be infinity. Question number 16, again, this same question from last week. First thing you do is you take care of the absolute value signs. So the absolute value of a -11 is 11. The absolute value of -13 is 13. You do the brackets and parentheses first, so the opposite of a positive is a negative, so -13. Opposite of -13 is a +13. Now, you're not doing the opposite of the operation inside the absolute value. You have to do the absolute value first. This will become a -11. Here was a common mistake. 1 minus 12 is not -12, it's -11. So -11, -11, that's -22. -22 plus 13 will give me -9. Question number 13. This should have been to the third power. Clarify that on the board for you guys. So order of operations, I'm going to do what's inside the parentheses first. 4 minus 7 is -3. And 3 minus 8 is -5. So we did parentheses. Now we're going to do exponents. -3 to the third power is -3 times -3 times -3. This will result in -27. Opposite of a -5 is a +5. Now in order of operations, we did parentheses, exponents. We're going to do multiplication now. So this is -2 times -27. That becomes a +54. Now I add the 2 because it's positive, so that becomes 59. Question number 18, similar question to last week. -m times quantity x plus y over n. I give you 2 points if you did the substitution. Don't forget that minus sign there. So there's my substitution. I'm going to do what's inside the parentheses, which is 14. I do multiplication. Opposite of -3 is a +3, so I have 42 over 3/4. This is vertical, so this is my fraction line. So turn it sideways, 42 divided by 3/4. Change that to multiplication, take the reciprocal of the second expression, you can cross cancel, and you'll get 56. Question number 19. Same question from last week. Remember, you can do 6 minus 2. The reason why you can is because you're thinking subtraction, but remember you have to do, when you're solving, yes, you are essentially doing reverse order of operations, so addition and subtraction first, but notice it's 6 minus the negative 2 and the absolute value have a multiplication there. So subtract 6. Remember, our goal is to isolate the absolute value signs. Divide by negative 2. Don't forget to flip the inequality sign. Absolute value of x minus 4 is less than 5. If you got there, I essentially give you 2 points. Because the absolute value signs are isolated, I split them into one positive, one negative. I solve and I get x is less than 9 and x is greater than negative 1. Now if you got here, I gave you 3 points. Maybe you made the mistake of not putting it as a compound inequality. Compound inequality means just putting it together. Maybe you made a mistake in putting the word or. You shouldn't have the word or there because you have less than, it's small. Yeah. Okay, question number 20. Same question as the week before. The only thing I think I changed was just the math operation. I'm going to clear both sides. It means I'm going to have to multiply by 6. And when I multiply by 6, you have to distribute that 6. So 6 times 2 divided by 3 will essentially get you 4. 6 times x over 6 will just give you x. So 4x. Minus x equals 30. 3x equals 30. X equals 10. Solving for perimeter. Same question as before. Then L can be expressed as or written as or solve for L, which means you're getting L here by itself. To do that, subtract 2w. Remember, this 2 has to be p divided by 2, and then negative 2w divided by 2. So you have to simplify there. This will become p over 2 and a negative w. Question number 22. A line has an x-intercept of negative 9, so that's the order pair negative 9, 0, and the coordinate 4, negative 1. Write the equation of a line in all 3 linear forms. Make sure to clearly label each form. So the first thing I did is I used point slope, or equation for slope, to find my slope, which is negative 1/13. Got 1 point if you got there. Then if you substitute it into any of these order pairs, negative 9, 0, 4, negative 1, this should have been in your point slope form. Remember, you should not distribute there. I essentially took the first one here, and you can actually take either of these. You'll distribute and you'll solve for y, and you'll get essentially the same thing. So the minus 0, you don't have to write anything. You just distribute the negative, so it'll become a negative 1/13 x minus 9/13 is my slope-intercept form. And to get it to standard form, I just need to get the x and y's on one side, so I add 1/13 x to both sides. I want to clear the fraction, so I multiply by 13 on both sides. This essentially will become 1x. Don't forget that 13 times y, and on this side of my 13s will cancel. I get negative 9. That's my standard form. Each of the forms, as you saw, were 2 points each, and then the total for question number 22 was 7 points. 0 points. There was no 1 point for trying. Question number 23, I made this question extra credit. I give you 2 points if you graphed it. Essentially, the key word is and. It has to meet both of the conditions. So you have to think of a number for x. Solving for x means you solve for a number x. You think of a number x that's greater than negative 9 and x is greater than 3. So if you graphed it, it looks like this. Let's just say you pick 0. 0 is bigger than negative 9. That is true. And 0 is greater than 3. Let's pick another number. I'm sorry, 0 is not greater than 3. That's false. So it can't be anything in between. It can't be anything over here. The only thing it could be is everything over in this direction, and that's x is greater than 3. So the answer is x is greater than 3. The reason why you don't put x is greater than or equal to 4 is because you actually have to list out the 3. That 3 is not a solution. Question number 24, short response. Simon graphed the linear function y equals negative x plus 3. On the right, explain his error. So negative x means he has a negative slope. So his slope is incorrect. Some of you guys may have written about the x-intercept, yeah, but the big idea is his slope is incorrect. Then graph, so that's the other part, that's the 2 points for actually graphing it correctly. Once you graph it correctly, negative x plus 3. There's my y-intercept. X-intercept is 3. Don't forget to label your intercepts. Question number 25, graph on the coordinate plane. Make sure you label all your intercepts. So I subtract 3, and you'll get y equals -1. If you graph -1 there, this is my x-axis and y-axis. Your graph should look like that. Make sure to label your intercepts. There's -1. And if you did a combination, let's say you probably graphed maybe y equals 1 and gave you 2 points. You have some kind of horizontal line, you knew it was a horizontal line, I gave you 2 points. Or if you had a vertical line, but you have y equals -1, I also gave you 2 points. Question number 26, graph on the coordinate plane. It's I'm going to add 13 to both sides. Now I have standard form. Substitute in 0. I get 4/13. This will be my y-intercept. Substitute in 0 for y. I get x is 7. That's my other x-intercept, and I graph it. And there are the points for that problem. Question number 27. So I'm going to take my equation there in standard form, put in slope-intercept form. Now I have the slope. The key word is parallel. So if it's parallel, that means the slopes are the same. So I put in the same slope, -7/3, and then I substitute in my order pair that they gave me, -1, 3. Now it just says write an equation in slope-intercept form. So I need to distribute and then add 3. When you add 3, that's 9/3. And 9/3 minus the 7/3 is 2/3. So this is an equation that is parallel, goes through point -1, 3. Question number 28, similar problem. I put it in slope-intercept form. Find my slope is -7/3. Perpendicular means I need a negative reciprocal, which is 3/7. Substitute it in, order pair, distribute, add 3, and you'll get y equals 3/7 x plus 24/7. If you understood that the slope was, if you knew that the slope was negative reciprocal, then I gave you 3 points. Same thing for the parallel problem. The last 2 questions, number 29. This question I count as extra credit, function notation. You have 2 functions, f of x and g of x, and you just have to divide your answer. Substitute in 5 for every value they see of x. Here's x is 5, and I substitute in x equals 5. 4 times 5 minus 2 is 18. G of -3, -2 times -3 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. If you solve them separately, like you got 18 and 7, then I give you 3 points. Question number 30. The common mistake is to, I don't know, -7 minus 3 is not -10. So the first thing I did was I distribute here. That becomes a -3 and a positive 2x. I combine like terms on the left side, so I have 3 constants, -7, -3 plus 1. That's -10 plus 1 is -9. Here I'm going to subtract 2x, and you'll notice I get -9 equals 5. When this happens, the answer is no solution, or circle through a slash. If you solved it correctly, but you wrote the word undefined or all real numbers, I give you 3 points. And if you had a minor math mistake going in the right direction, I give you 2 points.